What's going on, everyone? So Zion Williamson posted a photo from his basketball camp, and this is that photo. Now, you may think like, hey, is that Jaylen Brown? No, that's Zion Williamson. Like, look at how much weight he lost and how fit he looks. Right now, this is something that the Pelicans and Zion and everybody has been talking about. The Pelicans have been trying to get him to do for years, basically slim down, cut on some of that weight. I wonder, and I don't know this, right? We haven't really gotten word as to why he necessarily slimmed down or anything, but he was dominant last season. Like, he finally, those last few games in that playing game against the Lakers, right? He finally started to look like the guy that everyone knew he could be. He was literally unguardable. And there was this moment where you saw Zion really wanted that. And then he got hurt. And for the first time, you really saw, in my opinion, that raw emotion of almost I'm sick of this. I'm tired of this, right? And a lot of his injury history has came because of him being overweight and out of shape. I mean, look at this. The dude was walking around with Shaq's weight at, but 6 feet shorter. It's just, Zion had all the potential in the world. He still does. He's still very young, right? It's not like he's 30, right? So he still has all the potential in the world. But it's just, how serious is he at the game of basketball? How badly does he want it? And it's just, right out the gate, he was dominant. Right out the gate, he was a force. And lived up to the hype and the expectations of him. And yet, he could not stay healthy. It's just constant, dealing with injuries. And the big question was, will he ever commit enough, take his training and his eating and his workouts serious enough to properly slim down to a place where he can actually stay on the basketball court but still maintain that level of dominance? I'm not going to lie. I might be more excited to see Zion next season than any player in the NBA. I'm really excited to continue to see Victor Wembanyama's growth. And I'm really excited to see him after the Olympics and kind of what he does. Obviously, I'm a Laker fan, so I'm excited to see what does Dalton connect and LeBron and AD and this Lakers team and what will they look. But after seeing this photo, I was like, oh, hold on. I was like, the Pelicans might be a force. The Pelicans might be a real problem. And Zion might be the head of that problem. Because, man, if he can just maintain this, right? Because, there has been so much emphasis on his weight. It talks about his contract having, clauses in it and ways out. Because, if he ends up having a season or a career-ending injury, knock on wood, right? You never want to see something like that happen. But, there's all these clauses and all these questions and all these concerns about Zion. And it's just man, this guy could literally be one of the greats and he's just squandering it. He's just blowing it. It's just if he could just really buckle down and be disciplined and focused, imagine the player he can be. Well, we might actually get that this year, which is terrifying, right? If you're one of these executives for another team, not named the Pelicans, there's no way you look at that photo and go, uh-oh. That's ridiculous. And look, the Pelicans, they might be a force, period. Right? They went and got DeJounte Murray, which I thought was a very good acquisition. And they got him for essentially pennies compared to what the original thought of what he would go for was. You still have CJ McCollum. You still have, Brandon Ingram for now. We'll see what happens with that. And you still have now a supercharged Zion Williamson. Zion went from, you know, Fat Boo to Skinny Boo, and just like how Skinny Boo was terrifying, so is, so I'm really excited and looking forward to what is Zion going to do. But I mean, look, there are some questions and some current concerns with the Pelicans. Look, if they are just bringing in DeJounte Murray and swapping him essentially with Brandon Ingram, because they basically just give Brandon Ingram away, or, if Brandon Ingram can't be traded, does he kind of feel a kind of way? Does he feel a certain way? Obviously, there's the injury concerns with Brandon Ingram. Like if he's just completely checked out and you basically just swapped DeJounte Murray for Brandon Ingram, then I don't think the Pelicans are that much better. I do think that they're slightly better because I do think that they need that real playmaker, and DeJounte will be able to be that for them. But they also lack a center. Like, they have, no center. It's like, who's going to be their starting center, right? Maybe you're going to put Zion at center, but if you're going to put Zion at center, you should have had him keep the size that he had. Now, if he slimmed down and lost 50 pounds, right, probably not best at the center position. So, I do have questions in that regard. Now, also, it depends on what you get in return for Brandon Ingram. So, it's just, what do you get in return from Brandon Ingram? How checked in is Brandon Ingram? Because, again, if you're just swapping DeJounte for Ingram, I think it makes him a little better, but I don't think it makes him that much better. I think that they're basically the same team that they have been. Now, granted, a better, healthier Zion could go a long way, but it's going to be interesting to see what the Pelicans can do. Because, look, there have been times and stretches and even, months where the Pelicans have been one of, if not the best team in the NBA. Right? They've had times where they've been the one seed and they are just dominant and just look like that team that everyone expects them to be. It looks like a real contending team. And then they just always seem to default back. Right? They end up going on losing streaks, and then Brandon Ingram gets hurt and Zion gets hurt. And it's just it's just they have all this talent. They have all this excitement. Right? The Pelicans should be genuinely in that conversation of, are they a top team in the NBA? Right? You got, Troy Murphy and, obviously Zion and Ingram, and, they have the problem with, how do they get with all the wings and the emergence of guys, how do they fit Ingram? It's one of the reasons why they want to get rid of Ingram, period. Right? Because Herb Jones is emerged and is one of the best on-ball perimeter defenders in the league. So it's just you have this depth, you have this size, you have the versatility, you have everything you could want for the Pelicans. And now you got DeJounte Murray to kind of put it all together. Pelicans should be in that conversation, and they're not, because their two stars are completely unreliable. Brandon Ingram's probably on his way out. So you need to hope that, Super Zion can finally be this thing, right? He can finally start living up to the potential that we've been waiting for him to live up to. That he can finally become that player that, we all kind of expected him to be at some point. That has been very disappointing in many ways. So I'm curious to see how this plays out. I am super excited, right? I genuinely excited, because this is going to be, man, if he really does, and he maintains this, and he really has lost significant weight, and he's ready to go. This guy could be real tough, and I'm excited for it. Genuinely, I am really looking forward to it. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of a supercharged Zion Williamson? Do you like the idea of Zion slimming down and being ready to go? Do you think that this could help with the injury issues he's had? Or do you have concerns that it might be too late? Because that's definitely something, right? Has he already done, irreparable damage to where even with him slimming down, it might not help, right? He still might deal with the injuries and stuff. Also, I'm curious to see if it changes his game. How does he... Because he's basically just been bully ball. He just basically bulldozes his way in and you can't stop him because he's just so big and massive. If he slimmed down, does that make him more crafty? Does he have to kind of work on his handles and stuff a little more? I'm curious to see, right? I'm very, very, very curious on what Zion kind of progresses into and if he has to change his game in any type of way. But again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.